I decided many years ago, probably almost 20 years ago now, that I was not going to use chucks. Chucks are not a good way to hang onto a piece of wood, not because the chuck fails in any way. They're great instruments, they're precision made and well engineered, but it's the fact that we're grabbing a sponge. We're grabbing a wood product that compressed fibers are going to be involved with. I think it was Dale Nish that originally talked about a 40% rule. When we're using a chuck or any kind of holding power, the tenon that we use for the chuck should be 40% of the size of the blank. So if this is a 10-inch diameter bowl blank, I have a 4-inch tenon on it. That means I've got 3 inches on both sides. Now, 4-inch tenon, that's jumbo jaws. 10-inch diameter bowl, that's not a very big bowl. Most people do a 10-inch bowl. It's pretty routine. It's not a big deal. But if you're using a chuck, I bet you're using your regular standard jaws. And standard jaws will not go to 4 inches. It's only about 3 1/4 for standard jaws. So already, if you're using standard jaws on a 10-inch diameter bowl blank, you're exceeding its limitations already before you even start. If we think about the forces involved from where the chuck is holding the tenon, the forces are relatively close. Let's say for a minute that we're going to use a chuck on a hollow form, which I would never ever do. Chuck on a hollow form is really a bad situation because look at what happens. If we put a hollow form on here, let me use a different color. We put a hollow form on here, okay? We're going to go out here like this. Now look what happens when we make a hollow form shape out here. Look at how far away we are from our support. And we're going to come in here and we're going to make cuts to the side. There's no way that those side forces are going to be able to be held very securely with a chuck. And so a faceplate with a glue block is going to be a much stronger grip, a stronger hold to transfer the power from the spindle in the lathe all the way out to the wood with no vibration. So the first thing that can happen is that the chuck could fail and cause some vibration. The second thing can happen is that the chuck can fail and you can just actually knock the piece off the lathe and come spinning around, hit you in the face or wherever. It's going to go flying across the room. I want to minimize that danger and use a glue block. So let's draw this again with the headstock and a spindle coming out of here, and I'm going to put a faceplate on it, okay, and I'm going to make a concave surface on my wood, and I'm going to put lots of screws in it, right? There's no more secure method of hanging on a piece of wood than a faceplate with lots of screws in it. Many of the faceplates that come with the manufacturers from the lathe companies have sometimes 3 or 4 screw holes. Well, you got to take it over to the drill press or hand drill even and drill some more screw holes in your faceplate. You need a minimum of 6, 8, or 10 depending on the size of the faceplate. You need screw holes in there. And sometimes the screw holes are too small. I use a number 12 pan head sheet metal screw, and that takes a little larger hole, so I got to go in and drill the holes out to make the holes bigger so that I can use the faceplate with my larger screws. I use number 12 pan head sheet metal screws, and you can see these have been used many times over and over again. The number 12 screw changes to a 3 Phillips, and so the 3 Phillips is not going to strip out and get all bunged up as easy. Now if I put a faceplate with lots of screws in it, I'm going to waste away some of the wood. And you say, oh no, I can't waste away this wood. If I've got a 4-inch thick block of wood, by golly, I'm going to do a 4-inch bowl, right? You know? All right, let's do a sacrificial glue block here. That'll take my screws. And then I'm going to put the new piece of wood with another concave surface and some glue in here using the thick CA glue to transfer the power all the way out with no vibration. And now I've got almost 100% use of my wood with no screws in it, and I've got a good transfer of power here. If I think about the gripping power as a scale from the best way to hang on to a piece of wood to getting vibration in the worst way, the faceplate is way up here. Faceplate with lots of screws is going to be the best way to hang on to a piece of wood. The glue block is very, very close to that, and the chuck would be way over here in efficiency and holding power, okay? So I decided years ago not to use a chuck. If you decide to use a chuck, you've got to use it on relatively small things that has a secure bite and learn how to use it correctly. But I don't use it at all because it's not a good way to hang on to wood.